salah, number one, being hudur al-qalb, or the presence of the heart. And number two is the apprehension or understanding of what's being said. And number three is the glorification and magnification of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And number four is al-hayba, or the awe that is emanating from the majesty, feeling the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And number five is al-raja, and craving and hoping for the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And number six is al-hayat, feeling that it's not enough. Being shy that no matter what I do is not enough, gives you hayat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I have been asked to go a little slow, so I started this class with Mukhtasar, Al-Mukhtasar. The precise, the brief of the brief of the brief, and then a brother said, no, we need to go a little in detail. And then it was going a little slower, until now I'm asked to go like even slower than this. We don't have to go over the 6 things. Let's take them one at a time. But I will try my best, inshallah. So we discussed that hudur al-qalb, the presence of the heart. The reason for this is your himma. What are you thinking of? What are you preoccupied with? This is where your thoughts will be. So watch what is deep there in your heart, because it's inevitable that your heart will follow your thoughts and what is deep in it. If it is dunya, you will be thinking about dunya, but if it is akhirah, you will be preoccupied with akhirah. Strengthen your faith, strengthen your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowing that the akhirah khayrun wa abqa, the hereafter is better and more lasting. Think of this, and salah is the way to gain that. You will pray with that in heart. You will have your heart presence in there. Understanding, he said the reason for this is to have an addiction. Addiction of thinking of the akhirah. 99%, over 90% of our life we are talking, we are thinking, and we are preoccupied with doing it. Think of the akhirah. Think of your place in Jannah. What is going to happen there? Think of everything that you have for the akhirah. Keep thinking about it. If it is most of your day, that's what you're thinking. In salat, most of your salat, that's what you'll be thinking about. And do your best to push all the thoughts in your salat. How to do that? Push the very elements of it, the very roots of it. And the Imam will discuss some of the roots of the thoughts that we have in salat in the next section. Number 3, at-ta'zeem, or how to have ta'zeem. When we say Allahu Akbar, Allah is greater than anything. How do we have the meaning of this in our heart? He said 2 things: you know the majesty and the greatness of Allah, and knowing and understanding that yourself is low. No matter, you are in the presence of the King of the Kings, and you are thinking how to fix the bathroom. That's what our nafs is. Our nafs is preoccupied with what we see here, not with what's so big and huge, but waiting for us out there. The next one is al-hayba, which is usually some kind of fear, but it's not the fear from insignificant things. It's the fear that's, like I said, from the majesty of Allah. When you have awe for the ruler or somebody of great status, having that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would lead to khushu' in salah. And the more we know of Allah, the more we have the hayba from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. How to increase this? Knowing that some of us tend to think, Inna Allah ghafurur rahim. Allah is all forgiving. Allah is rahim. He will forgive me no matter what I do. That's true. But this is the next one. This is al-raja. We have to have an equal amount of that hope of khawf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lahu satwa. Yes, His name is Ar-Rahman, but His name is Al-Jabbar, Al-Muntaqim. He can destroy the whole world and worlds without caring. He doesn't care. It would not decrease Him nothing. Why did He test the prophets? The best of the human beings. He tested them. What about me? If Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would suffer and Isa would suffer, and they would lose, and they would be tested. So we need to think of this. If Allah wishes, He could remove me and my neighbors and my city and the whole town, and He doesn't even care. Because He brought us in the first place. So that gives us that level of fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in the meantime, that's 50%, and it shouldn't go more than 50%. Equally, we should have a raja. That's our faith. It's different from Christianity. It's different from any other faith. Our faith is 50% khawf, 50% raja. In the same amount, the other 50% is hope in the mercy of Allah, in the rahmah of Allah. Yes, I might not deserve it, but yes, He is Rahim, and He will give it to me. Having yaqeen in the wa'd, in the promise, in the lutf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you this quality. The next one is al-haya, is to understand that we have very flaws in our own selves. In the very salah, which is what? The total of it is maybe an hour. If you're really praying as you should. 5 daily prayers, each one is like 10 minutes. That's already 50 minutes, less than an hour. Out of the 24 hours, Allah is asking you for less than an hour, and even in this one, less than 1 hour, 90% of it I'm thinking about different things. What kind of self is this? What kind of person? That's what you need to think that will give you the haya. Ya Allah, this is the kind of salah, the kind of weak thing that I'm offering in here. Feeling that will give you the haya from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not the other way around. I prayed Isha in the masjid, that's enough. I'm not going to come tomorrow, Subhanallah. So this is the next quality and the last quality, which is al-raj al-haya in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Aisha is narrating, she said, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يحدثنا ونحدثه فإذا حضرت الصلاة كأنه لم يعرفنا ولم نعرفه. She said the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم used to speak to us, and we speak to him. He's doing, family chores and sometimes laughing, sometimes talking. He's talking. When it's time for salah, she said, it's as if he doesn't know us and we don't know him. He is totally real in salah. Everything is stranger to me. Everybody is stranger, everything is strange except for salah. That's how he was. Salah time, his whole focusedness is towards salah. قال الإمام الدواء النافع في حضور القلب, the beneficial remedy and cure for us to have our heart present in salah. What is it that we should do to get our heart present in salah? A believer by definition will have ta'zeem. Every believer, every mu'min has one level or some level of glorification for Allah, fear from Allah, hope in Allah. All of this is definitely by default in the heart of a believer, but it's not at the same level. Sometimes it's very weak. على قدر الإيمان ويقين الإنسان. It varies from one person to another based on how strong the faith is, the yaqeen is. So when we are in salah and we don't have much of it, it's for a reason. And the reason is, in fact, then, is divergent. Many thoughts in different valleys of dunya. غيبة القلب. The heart is absent from the conversation. It's a conversation that we have with Allah. Ya Allah, ihdina, give me this. Conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you recite al-Fatiha, and now you are in a conversation but you don't even pay attention to what you're saying. الخواطر تغني عن الصلاة. Having thoughts will definitely divert you and take your attention and cause heedlessness in salah. The remedy for this is to bring your heart, is to push the reasons and to push these thoughts as much as possible. And the Imam argues we have two sources and two rules for those thoughts. It's either external or internal. The external is something that takes your eyesight, something that you hear. So for that, you see something, a colorful thing, some nukush, something, somebody is passing by, you keep thinking about it. One idea will lead to the next idea, to the third idea. You hear something, oh, the baby is crying, so maybe his mom left him. You hear something, and that will be the reason and the rule for many thoughts. In order for you to avoid this, prepare the place for your salah. Get ready or get rid of anything that diverts your attention in salah. غض البصر. Many of those scholars back in the day, they would have a dark room in their house, an area designated for salah. And عبد الله بن عمر كان في مصلاه في بيته كان لا يدع مصحفا ولا كتابا ولا قدرا. Anything that will take his attention in his house, the place of his salah, Abdullah ibn Umar would remove it. He makes sure that he prays in a very simple place, nothing to take his eyesight, nothing that would affect him physically or externally. And this is the lighter one. The bigger one is the internal one. Because you might see 1, 2, or 10 things. But what about the thoughts in your heart? You have seen everything. The whole dunya is in your heart. We go to sleep, we get married while we sleep. We travel to different countries. Because all the thoughts, we have seen things, and now they are inside of our heart. So he said, even if you make Ghadul Basar, even if unless your heart is there, and you're not allowed to take you left and right, تشعبت بك الهموم. You will go to all different kinds of thoughts. قال والعلاج رد النفس قهرا إلى فهم ما يقرأه في الصلاة. And the remedy and the cure for this is to resist and repel yourself and push it back by force. Keep trying to push it back. No, I'm not going to think about the color. I'm not going to think about the person. I'm not going to think about the business. Push yourself back. Every time you are pulled, you bring yourself, you pull the other way around. قال ويعينه الاستعداد قبل التحريم. It will be very helpful if you prepare yourself for salah before you enter salah. You don't just come and enter. Some preparation. قال يجدد على نفسه أمر الآخرة. Before salah, renew thoughts about akhirah. Think about Jannah for a little. Think about the fire for a little. Think about your position. Am I going to be in Sirat? Am I going to be from those who go fast? Think about those places and those times. Think about you being in front of Allah. Anything about akhirah, couple of minutes before salah. Then you stand in salah, that's what you will be thinking about. He said, يفرغ عما يهمه. Put aside anything that takes your attention. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam say, I forgot to tell you, go ahead and cover. There's this container or pot that's uncovered. Cover it. Don't keep anything hanging. Something is on the fire. This is brewing until I finish salah. Don't keep anything there waiting for your attention. Make sure everything is done. I'm here for salah. Nothing else is, that I'm preoccupied with. All of this, he said, is the scheme, al-afkar. This is all like analgesics to put down, to shut down all the thoughts. But then he will move to another one that's for me and you very controversial. He said, if it doesn't, all of this would work على الأفكار التي تأخذ بحواشي القلب. All of these would help with the thoughts and desires that are on the sides of the heart. But we have things deep there in the heart that shushing those and pushing those thoughts will not benefit. You have قال عليك بالمسهل. You have to take the diuretic thing. You have to cut them off and get it out completely of your heart. And he quoted some ayat and hadith. What he's talking about? قال ما شغلك عن صلاتك فهو من جند إبليس وهو ضد ديني. Whatever that takes your attention in salah is something that's against your deen. Is something that becomes your enemy because it's taking you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال وإخراجه أو إبقاؤه أضر عليك من إخراجه. Keeping whatever that keeps your attention in salah, keeping it is more harmful than giving it away. And he gives the example of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when he received a new cloth that was colorful. Abu Jahl, somebody, a tailor who made, he brought it to the Prophet. He made salah and he liked it. After the salah, he took it off and he sent his servant, he said, take it back to Abu Jahl. Let him bring me back the other plain coat. I don't want it. I don't want this. And it didn't happen once. One time he was making khutbah and he had a ring, a new ring. He took it off and he threw it away. He said, I look at it one time and I look at you one time. It took my attention. He got rid of the ring. If it's gonna keep me from focusing, I don't want it. Abu Talha. You know the famous hadith of Abu Talha when that was Abu Darda, but it happened with Abu Talha as well. When he came to his farm, several hundreds of trees, palm trees, and he said it's all sadaqah. The hadith narrated in this regard, it says he was spraying in his farm. And then in his prayer he saw a very nice bird, the psi, colorful bird. The bird is jumping from one tree to the other. And حتى لم يدرك كم صلى. And it took his attention that he didn't know. He wasn't focused on his salah and he didn't know how many rak'ah. You know what he decided to do? He decided to get rid of the whole farm. This whole farm, it's my enemy now. He came to Rasulullah and said, Rasulullah, this is sadaqah. This thing caused fitna for me. and give it. It's sadaqah, give it to whoever you wish. I'm not asking you to sell your business. This is a higher level, not for us. Not for us. But that's how the salah was important to them. It happened one more time to Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He got new shoes. He got new shoes. They used to pray in their ni'al, in their shoes. So it was so nice that he kept looking at it in salah. After salah, he took it off and he said, "No, take it back. Bring me my old shoes." That is something that they constantly did because they knew that their salah is more important than anything. And if something will take my attention in salah, I don't even keep it. I am going to get rid of it. The example of this, I conclude with this inshallah, is you are sitting under a tree. And this tree has a lot of birds, crows or something. And you're trying to focus on something. And the birds are like making noise. And every time you try to shush them or push them away, you come back to focus again, they make noise again. You chase them, sit down to focus, they come back again. But it's going to be endless. What you need to do is cut the tree. Just cut the tree. Or if you have, let's say, some of those hornets or something at house, those big flies, and you see one, you kill it or you follow it. Oh, there's another one, kill it. What you need to do is go back to the nest. You go back to the nest, to the origin of it, and cut it, and they will be gone. So that's what we need to do. That's what they're doing. They don't want to say, okay, no, I'm not going to think about it. Oh, it's a nice ring. But next salah, you think about it again. So they would get rid of whatever reason that's taken their attention in salah. It will take forever and it will take over your salah if you keep pushing back and forth, and the entire salah will be gone in the back and forth process like a dhubab. كُلَّمَا ذُبَّ وَقَالَ وَمِنْهُ سُمِّي. Dhubab, every time you push it comes back. You push it away, it comes back. That's even the Arabic name is dhubab, which is like you push it and it comes back. If you literally translate the first part and the other part of it, but you need to get rid of the whole thing. Called the essence and the root of all of these things taking you away from salah is the love of dunya. This is the root of everything that corrupts your salah and whatever. If you love, the more you love dunya, the more you will not be focused in salah. The himmat dunya, the thoughts of dunya, the thoughts of the akhirah, and your heart is like the container. Thoughts of dunya is like vinegar. Thoughts for the akhirah and himmat for the akhirah is like water. All you need to do to get rid of the vinegar is keep adding more. The more you add water, if you add that much water, that means that amount of vinegar would leave. Keep adding water, it would leave. But then obviously we get vinegar again. But keep adding water. Keep adding. Make the akhirah qurrat ayn. Make the hereafter and thoughts of the hereafter and Jannah. Keep adding of this so you will have at the end more water, or hopefully the whole heart will have water everywhere. I know that sometimes we feel like, what are we hearing here? Like we're lost. The Imam, he said, the akabir, the big scholars and early, Sahaba, they tried to pray 2 rak'ah with no thoughts whatsoever about dunya, and they failed. Many of them, they failed without one thought of that in the dunya. So he said, if they cannot focus 100% in salah, what about us? He's talking about himself. So that is going to be a lifelong process, and we should keep, going and battling and trying to focus more and more in salah. Barakallahu fikum, jazakumullahu khairan, wa sallallahu alaihi wa sallam.